Today on Monkey Life, two of the park's more unusual residents get a health check from wildlife vet John Lewis.
They were taken from, obviously, the pet trade. Very thin. They've lost a lot of hair.
Red-bellied Gwenon baby Biff goes all out to dine out, with backup from Mum Nia when needed.
Nia is doing absolutely fantastic. She's extremely attentive to the baby, very protective, and seems to do everything right.
And little orangutan Mimi experiments with nest building. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I know, this is a big leap of faith, I know.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. At the park's hospital, the team are about to examine two of Monkey World's more unfamiliar and possibly unique primates, Brass and Evie. The pair have been giving the primate care team real cause for concern. Both males have drastically lost weight recently and also suffered hair loss and a general decline in condition. The team were so concerned, they've called in wildlife vet John Lewis to take a look.
So what have we got them on at the moment?
The pair came to the park 3 years ago from a pub in Altrincham, Cheshire, when the landlord was unable to care for them and had to move on. They were living with two female common marmosets. All four came to the park. They're so unusual, no one has been able to identify exactly what species they are. But the team think they could be hybrid marmosets, a combination of silvery and common marmosets. When they first arrived at the park, Brass and Evie were in poor health. But with the staff's expertise and a bit of TLC, they've been doing really well. Until now.
We don't know their age, I presume.
John is checking Brass over first. Both are showing similar symptoms, and later he'll be able to compare the two small primates. Blood sample results should help with any diagnosis too.
These are a couple of rather odd calatrichids. They're probably hybrid animals of different species that were taken from, obviously, the pet trade. Very thin. They've lost a lot of hair, but I'm not convinced that they're totally happy in the enclosure they're in because they're overlooked by squirrel monkeys and so on. So their keepers are going to move these two into somewhere which is a bit more less threatening to them, perhaps, and see if that makes a difference. By which time I would have had the blood results and can see if they've actually got evidence of any kind of internal serious disease.
John finishes his examination of Brass. And Jeremy has Evie ready to be anaesthetised with gas. John soon discovers both marmosets are suffering from the same sort of bowel complaint.
Evie's clearly in better condition, more muscle, but he also has the same obvious thickened loops of bowel that you can see as well as feel in the abdomen.
He can't be positive until he has the results of the blood test, but John is pretty sure that the pair are showing signs of a syndrome known as marmoset wasting.
If they don't show weight gain relatively quickly after moving, I think we'll try and assume that we have a degree of inflammation of the bowel, probably chronic inflammation, and try and design treatment to address that.
Both marmosets will be returned to their bedrooms to recover. Over the next few weeks, the care team will carefully monitor them, and if there's no immediate sign of improvement, they may need further examination and medication. The park's marmoset complex is full to bursting. The majority are, like Brass and Evie, refugees from the primate pet trade, which is still legal in the United Kingdom. Often, they've lived alone, without company of their own kind, which is vital for their well-being. so the park try and pair them up as soon as they arrive. Frank and Douglas have been together for 2 years. Today, primate carekeeper Louise is giving them an enrichment of corn on the cob. Some still on the stalks, and other kernels suspended in their enclosure. To make life a little easier, Louise has opened up some of the leaves.
We always try to keep them curious and busy, otherwise they get bored in set-up enclosures, so we try to provide them with different things every day. This is quite nice for them. They have really strong claws and they are really good at hanging on things and climbing. So the fact that it's hanging down, it's nice, so it kind of will give them some exercise as well. And it's also a food item which they actually like, so that'll keep them busy and happy for a while.
The pair are let into the outside enclosure. They're different species of marmoset. Frank is a Jeffroy's with a big white face and large tufted black ears. He's quite easy to tell apart from Douglas, who is a common marmoset. He has white tufts and is smaller in size. They seem to get on very well together. Their enclosure is full of natural foliage, providing them with an excellent network to climb and plenty of foraging opportunities. Today's enrichment of corn, however, seems to be passing them by. Perhaps because it's bigger than they are. Douglas does give one of the cobs a cursory glance, but he seems more interested in the small cameras put up to record them eating. It's not quite what staff had in mind, but still great to see them checking out new and unusual objects in the enclosure. Marmosets love to tree gouge to get at the sap inside. Frank gives it a go on one of the corn stalks. Not the reward he'd hoped for, perhaps, but to lie down in the warm sunshine more than makes up for it. With summer in full swing, the park has harvested corn for all the primates. And while the marmosets weren't over-enthused with the seasonal crop, some of the larger primates love it. It makes a healthy and tasty treat. Today, it's the orangutan nursery group who are the other beneficiaries. Primate care member James is putting the stalks all over their enclosure.
Orangutans in the wild, they're 99% arboreal animals. They'll spend most of their time up high in the forest canopy. In captivity, they do have a tendency to be a little bit lazy on the floor sometimes. We try and get everything up as high as possible for them most of the time to make them do that little bit more exercise. And it's just really great for their mental health and their physical side of things.
Sylvester is first out of the blocks and heads straight for the corn. It's been a year since he last tasted it, and he wastes no time tucking in. But for Mimi, the youngster of the group, it's her first experience of the large stalks. She's not sure what to make of them, and decides to watch and learn from Sylvester. Bulu Mata enjoys breaking open and eating the sweet and tasty stalk while upside down. But matriarch O'Sheen, who loves her food, refuses to make the effort to reach the corn, instead foraging on the ground for anything else she can find. And Rika is also happy with the less strenuous alternative. After learning from Sylvester, Mimi has taken it all in. Or has she? Rather than eating the corn, she makes a nest with the stalks, something orangutans in the wild do every day. By manipulating leaves and branches, they make a fresh bed every night to sleep in. Although Mimi's nest-building skills need working on. It's been a few weeks since the team had to split the two adolescent males, Jin and Sylvester, following a play fight that went too far. They now take it in turns to come out with the rest of the group. Today, it's Sylvester's turn to enjoy their company and have some fun at the same time. He may be developing into a young adult, but he still revels in a good play session. The park has 20 gibbons from 5 different species, and today, primate carekeeper Kat is going to give one pair a seasonal treat. Golden-cheeked gibbons Kim and Tien are getting fresh-cut cherry browse, full of ripe fruit. It's being suspended high up in the tree canopy of their outdoor enclosure.
It's really exciting because the actual cherries are on it, they're ripe and ready to eat. They also will eat the leaves as well, so it's a really nice browse. So I'm just going to put it up on the pulley feeder so that they're actually going up nice and high into the trees and sort of eating in a really sort of natural way.
The 2 gibbons live in a wonderful tree-filled enclosure. But most of the bigger trees are pines, which lack edible material. So the browse keeps life varied and interesting for the pair. Kim and Tien are a very close couple, but it's 11-year-old female Kim who's in charge. She's definitely the more dominant of the 2, and she loves her food. She's soon picking the cherries from the suspended feeding station. 13-year-old Tien takes a flying leap at the easy option, happily tackling the large cuttings left lower down by the team just for him. Kim demonstrates how perfectly adapted gibbons are to life in the trees. They are exclusively arboreal, and in the wild don't go down to the ground. Their long arms allow them to swing from branch to branch, a form of movement known as brachiation, and the gibbons are experts. Their hook-like hands and strong grasp keep them safe living in the tops of the trees. In the wild, they're known as perfect seed propagators, distributing seeds away from parent trees as waste matter, or by spitting them out. They travel many kilometers in search of food, helping to regenerate the forest as they go. Kim and Tien were both born at the park, and it was hoped that one day they could be rehabilitated and released into the forests of southern Vietnam. Life in the trees at Monkey World would be a good preparation for such a release. Unfortunately, releasing gibbons back into the wild has proved difficult, and the team at Monkey World's sister sanctuary, Dao Tien, have faced many obstacles along the way.
With anything, there's always risk, and there's never been a successful gibbon release in Vietnam. We've done the Dukes, we've done the Loris, and gibbons is something we're still working on.
Dr. Marina Kenyon oversees the day-to-day running of Dao Tien. It's been her goal from the very beginning to successfully release rehabilitated gibbons back into the wild. After a number of false starts, 2 months ago the team at Dao Tien released one of their rescued gibbons, a female called Bin, into a new part of the forest, not currently populated by other gibbons. And so far, she's doing well.
As a single female in the forest, it is quite scary and tough. Normally your family would help guide you. So she's kind of doing the hardcore teenager leaving home. But over the weeks, she's getting much better. She's expanding her home range. So every week we download the data from the collar. She's around 8 hectares now. So for the first week, she stayed at around 1.5 and literally just kind of stayed within 5 trees. But she's slowly moving further and further. We need her to get to around 20 hectares, 15 hectares before we know that she's comfortably got enough food to survive there. So at the moment we are still supplementing her. But she doesn't follow us now, she ignores us, she's busy doing her own thing. So she's feeling more comfortable.
If everything remains positive, there are plans to release the next set of gibbons soon. A family of 5, with an older teenage boy who could be a perfect mate for Bin. Marina is hoping the pair will establish a lasting bond, just like Kim and Tien back in Dorset. It's important all of the primates at the park are given the opportunity to live a life as close as possible to that which they might experience in their natural habitat. But there's one enclosure where this is a real challenge for the care team. It houses a mixed species group of 5 and includes a recently born youngster. Red-bellied Guenons Benny and Nia and their 14-week baby daughter Biff live with the odd couple. That's ancient ring-tailed lemur George and the park's only patas monkey, 25-year-old Meetsa. Today, they're going to get a tasty assorted enrichment, which should appeal to all 3 species. Primate care member Sharon is putting out whole plums and kiwi fruit, along with something a bit different. Banana plant stems with treats hidden inside, which should keep them all busy and active. Meetsa and George are let out first, followed swiftly by Nia with baby Biff clinging on. Dad Benny is close behind and has already spotted the unusual banana plant, stripping away the layers and tucking into the succulent flesh inside. Baby Biff has come on leaps and bounds in the last few weeks. She already spends a great deal of time off mum, happily exploring the trees and leaping about. But she's yet to master the technique of tackling the fruit on offer. Nia is doing a good job of rearing her daughter. She's relaxed enough to let her go off exploring, but still incredibly protective, especially with Meetsa around. However, she sometimes torments the patas monkey just for fun.
Nia is doing absolutely fantastic, and I think even from very early on we were kind of quietly hopeful that things were going to work out because she was extremely attentive to the baby, very protective, and seemed to do everything right. You know, I think they're starting to see this as home now. They've really relaxed around the primate care staff. They're hand feeding from us now. They're coming and going reliably. We're starting to learn kind of what items of food they like, what enrichment we can give them, and how they like to move around. So it's been a big journey for them, but they've really come on.
Nia tends to keep Benny at arm's length for the moment, but he's not too worried. He loves the trees and the leaves and makes the most of the fresh fruit that has been put out. Meetsa doesn't take too much notice of the energetic Guenons. When she's not being wound up by Nia, who can't resist tugging at her tail, she's quite a laid-back character and has been at the park for 8 years. As for elderly George, nothing fazes him much, until Nia gives him a gentle tap. But this interesting mixed group appears to work well. And for Biff, it's home, a place where she can flourish. A good summer at the park means fun, sun, and lots of outdoor play for the primate residents. And while they enjoy the warm weather, the care team work to ensure the animals they tend are comfortable in the heat of the day. Keeping the monkeys and apes cool and hydrated is vital, and the staff relish coming up with new and novel ideas. Today, it's Sunny's group of Capuchins who will benefit. They're already outside in their enclosure enjoying the sunshine. But to cool the troop down and give them a delicious and special treat, primate care member Katie is throwing in whole frozen pomegranates. She spreads them around to make sure all 20 in the group get the opportunity to enjoy them. The Capuchins don't need a second invitation. Where there are tasty treats around, they are quick off the mark. Pomegranates have a tough exterior skin, especially after being frozen. But they're no match for the Capuchin's sharp canine teeth. Jenny has already ripped one open and is busy devouring the seeds inside. Sonny's second-in-command, Bruce, uses a different method to break the fruit apart. This is exactly the sort of technique Capuchins in the wild use to crack open fruit and nuts. They're incredibly strong and have even been known to carry objects heavier than themselves. The smash-and-grab approach certainly works for Bruce. Even female Terry, who's 34, manages to collect a frozen treat. She's the only pet-trade Capuchin in the group and arrived with appalling mobility issues. So it's good to see she hasn't missed out. Tia and Tallulah agree to share. The pomegranate seeds are ideal for encouraging the Capuchins to use their nimble fingers. The fruit is encased within a fibrous pith and held together in a tough outer shell, so the monkeys have to show great dexterity to pick out the seeds. Letitia is an expert. Leader Sonny cracks open his fruit with ease, but being top man isn't without its problems. When one of your females, such as Tia, is pilfering your prize, and another, like Tallulah, is flirting outrageously, it's hard to get anything done. And unfortunately for Sonny, there's no let-up, as the girls compete for his attention. Capuchin flirting comes in various guises. Raising the eyebrows and rubbing the chest is the most direct form. Veronica takes it one step further by tagging Sonny from beneath the platform. He just can't get any peace. But, as the saying goes, it's tough at the top. Next time on Monkey Life, Alison's in Yorkshire, linking up with the RSPCA and the police to rescue a Capuchin living in poor conditions.
This needs to be done, but it's never easy when people are getting upset. I'll have to see how this plays out.
And Ruby's babies brave the outdoor enclosure.